Alrighty. Happy New Year's. Welcome to another episode of Two Idiots Drinking Vodka and Talking Hockey. I'm Dan.
And I'm Rhodes. Cheers, Dan.
Cheers, buddy. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Uh, did a little rock trivia there last night again. It was good.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
time. Had some. There's a few locals there. Of the how do I put it? Street vagrant variety.
Yeah.
Last night that made it a little interesting. I love it because they like force you to play even if you don't want to. Like if you're at the bar, it's like you're just playing. Like just pick a team name and play.
Oh,
Sort of
really?
thing. Because like it's pretty passive, right? It's not like some trivia where you gotta like fuck, you got your pen and pencil or your paper and you're just writing down answers for every question. It's like she just goes around team to team, and there's like a team that can steal. And yeah, since we're kind of regulars there now, she made us the stealing team for the for those local vagrants playing at the pool table. And yeah, it was fun. We still only ended up coming in fucking fourth place. There's some people that are, god, they know their music knowledge. It's crazy.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There would be. That's
Yeah,
awesome,
I'm
though.
feeling.
That's cool. Yeah, I know Craig's been telling me about it for a while. And
Yeah, it's a good time, man. We
yeah,
had fun, and then I ended up having a couple nightcaps with him, so feeling a little sleepy today.
nice. We've been doing this thing. Fuck, I want to say for years now. It's the Throwback Thursday, right? So every Thursday, Craig and we kind of throw back songs at each other, right? Since it's throwback, it's got to be older than 10 years. And yesterday he sent me fucking Gangnam Style.
Yeah, I guess that song's got to be well over 10 years old now.
Yep. I was like, Jesus Christ. So I was like, all right, well, if we're
Well,
playing that game, and then here's a little Soulja Boy.
nice. Well, it's like fuck. We like they like later on in the night there, you get to kind of pick your era. Like so, like you pick your decade. Sorry, but like, and they do two rounds of that. But like on the second round, you can't pick the same decade. So we always start with the '90s, and we always fucking nail it. Like last night was oh fuck, I'm drawing a blank right now, but it was something
It,
that we got right away. And then so we're like, well, we don't want to do the 80s. I mean the 80s, because I don't know. Sometimes there's some obscure shit that's hard to, like one. You're like, oh, I know this song, but I have no idea the title or the artist.
well,
So we're like,
that's
oh,
that's where
we'll
you need Keith, right? If you got Keith in there, you probably got a better chance with the 80s.
oh, for sure, yeah. No, it was me, Craig, and Paul. So like we did
Oh,
we
yeah.
did all right, all in all. But like, anyway, so we decided, well, we'll do the 2000s, which truthfully we should have gone with the 70s. And we did the 2000s, and it was like some shit song by Fall Out Boy that I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And like, the younger people in the bar, they're like, they all know it, and we're just like, I don't know what this crap is. So, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. You think it's because it was more recent, you'd know it, but yeah, not the case, I guess.
no, no, it's
Uh,
crazy how as you grow up, you kind of there's just so much that comes out. There's so much. It's you lose track. Again, then you kind of just you go back to what you like too, right?
100%, yeah. No, I feel like my median year for music is like probably more in like the 70s or 80s, to be quite honest. Like I listen to
Oh well.
a lot of, a decent amount of new shit, but like probably more from those years than anything else.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, most of mine's still probably 90s, early 2000s, but all
Yeah,
over the
it's
place.
true.
Um,
Speaking of not knowing things, we did not do very good on our predictions before Christmas for those two games.
no, no, we were pretty bad.
No, I mean we both got the win right against the Sharks, but fuck, a lot of OT losses lately.
Oh man, so many. I mean, just a lot of losses in general, right? Like they're just. I mean, it's tough if with Pedersen out, with Hughes out, with Hronek out. It's gonna be tough, but still, like,
What would you say in the last 10 games we've had what, four OT losses?
um, well, it was the last 8 games we'd had 3 OT
Or
losses.
eight
So,
games, sorry.
yeah,
Last
we're
8 games we've had four OT losses.
yeah we're two,
Which is
three,
like, we're
two,
getting
three, and
we're getting
three.
half the points.
Yeah, Yeah, 2-3-3. One of those is an OT winner as well. So they did win an OT game, but against the Kraken.
Yeah, because we lost one against OT and against them just a couple nights prior, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I feel like we're back in the Green or Desharnais area there, or Desjardins, whatever you pronounce his last name there, where fuck we just like we'd go up 3-1, you think things are gravy, and then oh watch out, here we go, letting her slip in the third.
Yeah, it's so crazy too because like last year never had an issue, right? By this time in the season, I could go to being out east, right? The games are on late. I could go to bed. If they were up 3-1, they were up like even 2-1, but 3-1, 4-2, a 2-goal lead or 3-goal lead going into the third. I go to bed. They're going to win that. Like there's no hesitation. This year it's just nothing's safe. Heck, half the time they're not even ahead. It's they're letting the first goal come in first, and
for sure. And it seems like the second half of this first half of the season has been a lot more of that. And I mean, definitely injury plagued. Like I mean, fuck, having those games that we had Hughes out, it was just like we were just scraping by to even get any goals. Like
yeah,
it was tough. Like I mean, I was looking at the stats there. They just show the like the Canucks defense. Like have you ever seen those charts where they show like they have the four quadrants, right? It's like above average, offense, above average defense, and below average offense and defense, right? So like without Hughes in the lineup, we're still oddly enough we're above average for defense, but our offense is below average. Whereas with Hughes, we're above average for both. Like it's crazy how big of a difference he makes. Like
yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a reason the Hughes for Hart is a thing, right? And I'm on board for it and I think him being gone only shows that case more. The unfortunate thing is, it's the East Coast bias, right? Like I just don't think there's enough people paying attention. I would, all the reporters and stuff out east where the majority of this shit is. That's the sad part for it to me, but yeah, I mean, it's not hard when you start looking at the hard stats and everything around Hughes, just how much of it they're two different teams. When he's on the ice and when he's off the ice, they're two different teams.
yeah, and I mean, like that's obviously not sustainable. If you're going to be a playoff team, like you need to be able to not rely on just one or two key players. Like,
yeah, it's a team game. Like you have to. I don't know what's going on with like has Miller started to get his shit together? I'm not certain.
He's I mean he got his first goal the other night there that wasn't an empty netter since like fucking November. Like I think granted or no, actually I think it was like yeah, something like that. It was like I read it was like since November. Like granted he was gone for 10 games there, but still like even the 10 games that he was back in, it took him 10 games to get a goal.
Yeah.
Like he had, he's gotten some assists and stuff. He's obviously putting up points, but
yeah. Well, I will say, somebody that isn't a talking point, and I think it's a good thing, and I think he's just putting along with a good season, is Brock Besser. I think Besser's doing.
Yeah.
I think he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, no. Bessie's he's definitely he's been fairly consistent all season here. I mean, like he does, like he's got what's he up to now? He's got 26 points, 14 goals. He's definitely not on his 40 goal pace he was last year. But he's not doing too bad. Like he's pretty consistent. I mean, as of late, maybe he's had a couple of stretches where he hasn't gotten some points, but yeah, like he's certainly in terms of like re-signing him in a contract year, it's maybe not so bad that he's slumping a little bit, but
so I'm gonna ask you a question.
Shoot.
Top 3 point scorers on the Canucks right now. Don't look it up. I'll give you the first one. Obviously, Quinn Hughes is number 1. He's got 45 points in 36 games. Who's number 2?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Jake DeBrusk.
Close.
Close. I mean, Miller's been out a bit. Petey Petey's been out a bit too. Is it like Pius Suter?
Connor Garland.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Connor Garland.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next guess. Actually, I should have guessed that over. Yeah, so Connor Garland being our number 2 for points.
30 points. 30 points in 40 games, and then you got DeBrusk and JT with 29, followed by EP40 at 28. This is pitiful, and all of those, Garland, DeBrusk, Miller, Pettersson, Besser, all minus players.
Yeah, it's definitely killing us. Like, I don't know. We got to get some cohesion here. Like, obviously, I think last episode we just talked about the whole fucking JTPD drama, but like, they got to get past that and just figure it out. Like, okay, if you guys don't play well together, but you still can manage on the power play, just figure out how to manage your own lines, right? Manage your own minutes.
I think I'm still annoyed by it too, because I think a lot of that is just overblown bullshit. I really, really do. I think it's just, and all these trade rumors and all this, I'm over it, man. Like, just.
I know. The media is such a cancer. It's the question gets asked to Alvin. Alvin makes a statement, something like, well, yeah, like nothing's off the table. Automatically they run with that as if like, oh, they're actively trying to trade him. It's like, well, no, fuck. Of course, the ultimate goal is that both guys pick up their socks, start playing well, and like we just move on. It's like one of those, like, if the Canucks were playing well, there wouldn't be a peep about this. But it's the fact that we're not that it's being brought up.
Yeah. And what I see it, here's how I see it. I see it as it's East Coast reporters going, what the hell's wrong with Vancouver? Is there something going on with, like, what's this deal with JT and Miller and Elias Pettersson, and they got to trade them and stuff. And then the people in Vancouver are like, oh, well, they're talking, Elliot Friedman's talking about it, Kipper's talking about it. I guess we better talk about it. And then they start running with it. And then, and then you get like J-Pat going, well, the locker room seems to be different these days. And it's just like, guys, just fucking, just let them play hockey. I don't know, man.
No, I know.
I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't want to even give it any more time. I'm just like, I think it's a dead subject, and I think it is when they asked JT and they asked Pettersson about it, right? And JT's like, what do we like?
Do you want us to interview together? Like, what do you want from us?
Yeah, and then they asked Petey, and he's like, we're still talking about this. Next question. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, just fucking move on.
Beating a dead horse. I agree to that. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's, like everyone's blaming the Canucks slump on this drama, but like, I don't think there's really.
It's a fucking team, man.
It's not there's no connection. Like, really, the big connection, the two biggest factors in my mind as to why the Canucks are winning less games than they did last year. One, Demko. You don't have him. Yep. Or he's not quite back to form yet.
Yep.
And last year, he stole you a lot of games.
Yep.
Two, puck luck. We had a shit ton of puck luck last year, where this year our, like, whatever that stat is, the PDO or whatever they call it, is like way lower than it was last year, which, was bound to happen. So it's like, yeah.
And I think, I think Philip Hronik being out too, I think there's been a drastic drop in their, their winning percentage and everything since he's been gone.
For sure. Like, if you got to have guys like Carson Soucy and fucking Tyler Myers picking up those minutes, like, gonna have a hard time winning. Like, that being said, Myers has been fine. I've got nothing against the guy. Even like Soucy, I haven't complained too much about him lately. It's been,
Soucy's done a lot. He started pretty slow. He had a very rough start to the season, but he's picked it up. He's done a lot better. I agree, and but you can't ask that much. I think, again, those are two guys that you get diminishing results the more you play them, right? And that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and I don't think that's a knock on them. It's just how
you limit their minutes, they're going to probably play a little better for you, for sure.
Yeah, if you can keep them 16, 18 minutes, you're going to get a really, really good 16, 18 minutes. You start putting them up over 20, you're going to get some mediocre minutes out there.
Yeah, and I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, obviously the game today hasn't happened yet, but like, we're halfway through the season and we're sitting in a wild card spot. Yeah. We're not way out of the fucking playoffs. it's
Yeah.
not insurmountable that we can pull up our socks. And like I honestly I
Yeah.
don't see us knocking obviously Vegas or Edmonton out of the top two. But like, there's a chance that LA does what they did last year and they fucking slump and maybe we sneak into that third spot. But like regardless, I have a hard time seeing us missing the playoffs unless something like catastrophic happens here in the second half of the year.
Yeah. I
And I
agree.
mean I really hope that like all of our injuries are sort of put behind us here because it's like PD's coming back tonight. Thankfully, hopefully whatever he had was just something nagging that they wanted to play it safe with him. Hughes, I mean, he's playing with a fucking taped up hand. That guy is a workhorse. Like,
Yeah.
they showed him on the bench there. Like he's got some weird splint going on. But I mean, that being said, still putting up like, two assists there like the other game, like not the last game, but the game before. Like he's he's still doing it. Like even banged up.
Yeah. He's. I mean, again. I could talk about Hughes all day, but I don't. You know, he's by far our best player. Like it's not even a it's not even close. Like I thought there was a time where Pedersen could be, but I don't know, man.
What?
He's maybe got the ceiling potential as a forward to be more, but man,
He does. He's just kind of struggling.
yeah. And I mean, he was being a defenseman. It's just incredible. It's incredible what he does every time he's out there on the ice and the way he moves and just the way he sees the ice.
Oh,
It's
he can control the play so well. It's amazing.
yeah, yeah. It's a joy to watch every single game.
Like honestly, if the Canucks can play like they did, so like I watched this, I missed a bit of the first there of the Caps game, but then I caught the second and third, and man, dude, not for a lack of trying. I mean, they put up what like 30 plus shots versus, and they kept the Caps under 20, right? Like if it wasn't for Logan Thompson standing on his head for the Caps, like the Canucks definitely deserved to win that game. Like it ended up being a shitty, overtime penalty call against us.
So I didn't see
Fuck,
it, but it was what was it? I think
fucking
what was it?
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Hughes played like 3 minutes out there, and then the second he got off the ice, that's when Washington scored.
Well,
That's what I heard.
it wasn't there. Well, there's a penalty there in
Was there?
OT.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I'm pretty yeah, unless I'm mixing up games here. Uh, but yeah, like I mean, it was some bad calls there. Like even that one, like when they started off on the penalty there, like in the first, fucking Pierre-Luc Dubois like bowls over uh Hughes, which like I mean, Dubois is much like he's like fucking six something. Like
Man,
he's a
he's a
big
dirt.
guy.
Yeah, I was surprised at how fucking he was from what I watched. So just so people listening, um, my stream like fucked up, and so I couldn't watch the game after the first period. But even in that first period, man, Dubois was all over the place, like just stirring shit up, and
Oh yeah, and I mean
he was taking
that's
some
what he
cheap shots at Hughes even in the first period. There, he was taking some liberties,
well,
like
and
between him
that
and
I
Wilson.
think.
You know,
Oh yeah, no, and that's where like yeah, like I mean, fuck, just to shift gears, I guess. But like yeah, that's why Washington's like so much better this year. Is they've got those agitators. I mean, Tom Wilson's having a fucking season of his life here right now. The guy is like I don't know. I'd have to look up his stats, but like I honestly, he's got to be having like a career season right now, and he's not young either.
no, he's been
Um,
around.
Yeah, and then they've just got a bunch of young guys that have just like developed really well, like that McMichael's kid, that Protas. Like they've just got and they got a good defensive core now, like Carlson. They picked up that Russian kid. What's his name? Chichurin or whatever.
Okay.
They're, yeah, they've got I don't know. They've got a pretty solid team. I mean that's why they're fucking leading the East right now. But I think they are.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
so no, but like again, back to the Canucks. Like I mean, fuck, they're playing against the best team against the East, and they deserve to win that game. So if they play every game like they did last season, or sorry, like if they like the other night, they're like, fuck, we'll win more games here for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to look it up because I was curious. So like, yeah, like last season, Wilson got 35 points in 74 games. He's up to 32 and 41 right
Oh Jesus, yeah. So he's having a
now. Like,
hell of a
yeah.
season. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's fucking killing it.
Oh,
Should have
good.
picked him up off the waivers there in our fantasy league. But yeah, it's no, it's like we gotta just play full 60. Like, it's hard when we go down early, but even some like a lot of the games there we were up and we ended up blowing the leads, right? And it's just like if we can just buckle down defensively, and I mean it's tough when when you are playing with a banged up Hughes and you got a bunch of kind of third pair guys playing on your first and second pairs. It's hard to win games, let's be honest. So I mean, like, they got to cook up some sort of a trade and get a good defenseman over here.
Yeah. Yeah, and they got to figure out a way to they got to get more offense. It's. I mean, it's weird because I'm looking at these scores, right? And it's not. I mean, 2 against Utah's not good. 1 against Golden Knights isn't great. But then they get 4 on Ottawa. They get 4 on the Sharks. 4 against the Kraken. 1 on Calgary.
Easier teams, granted.
4 against the Kraken the next time.
Yeah, 4 against the Canadians there. Yeah, 3-0 loss against the Peds was kind of was pretty shit there, but
yeah. Well, and that had an empty netter in it too, right? I think
it did. Yeah, no, I mean, like, Lankinen actually played really well that game. Just like we could not score for the life of us. It was just, and like our shot quality was just, it was just a shitty game for us. But
yeah,
and I have a few of those.
And I liked your point earlier too on Demko being out. I think we've missed just how good Demko is when he's on his game, and I don't know that he's really got there quite yet. But I mean, he steals games. He really does, and that's not a slight on Lankinen, because I think Lankinen has been very good.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get a good paycheck next season for sure.
But Demko's just, when he's on his game, he's one of the best. And he's just a little bit better, and especially at making those saves that he shouldn't be making. He has no business making, right?
Yeah. So here, let's have a shot to Demko getting back up to form here.
Yeah.
As soon as possible.
Yeah. Cheers.
Question here for you though.
Sure.
Hypothetical, one that I don't really want to believe could happen, but obviously with Demko going out with these back spasms the last few games, which thankfully wasn't related to his knee injury, but that being said, if Demko does end up like a Freddie Anderson or one of those goalies that, or like an Ullmark, where when he's good, but can be injury prone, do you try and keep Lankinen? Because I would say he's proven himself pretty well. He's going to get a good pay bump, but it's not going to be, like a fucking Shesterkin or a Swayman pay bump. But, like, do you try and keep him in the off chance that Demko cannot remain healthy?
I don't know. I would be curious who's going into free agency next year. I don't know what goalies have 1 year left on their contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. That is a tough one. I have a tough time thinking with the injuries and stuff, especially if it continues, right? If we get another, if there's another Demko injury, then it's something you really have to consider, and I think that's something that has to be taken into consideration with his next contract too, right? He's not going to get that $8 million deal if he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's going to be a $5 million goalie, right? Which is what I think he's 5.5 or something like that, or 4.5, somewhere around there. And I think that's where he would stay if he can't stay healthy. But yeah, then you have to have a plan to move on. You have to have a plan to move on when his contract expires. The unfortunate part is, goalies have a weird trajectory, right? Look at Bobrovsky.
Yeah. So speaking of goalie,
look at Luongo.
He's one of the ones that his contract comes up at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You got just because I wanted to pull it up. Your options for contracts expiring here. You got Bobrovsky, Um, you've got I'm supposed to fucking sort by goaltenders here. What's this bullshit? Sorry, I'm trying to do this shit on my phone here.
All right.
Not
Well,
working very well. But yeah, you got Bobrovsky one. Carey Price's contract runs out next year.
Carey Price doesn't play hockey anymore, does he?
No, he doesn't. But apparently he is getting paid up until next year still,
Oh, good for him.
which is interesting. But
BC
anyways, yeah,
represent.
there's yeah. No, there's I'm sure there are some other ones, but it's like yeah, I don't know. It's just tough.
Yeah, yeah. It's difficult too, right? And it was really promising seeing what Shilovs had done last year, but I don't know how he's been down in the AHL this year. I don't know if he's been any better or what. He certainly hasn't done well in the NHL this year.
No, no, he's been
And
yeah.
and I just don't know.
Shows that out.
I don't know. It's so difficult to get a goalie like that without drafting him. It's the deal for
No, it's
Luongo
true.
was rare, right? And wasn't that the Bertuzzi trade? If I remember right.
I don't, I don't remember now. To be quite honest. So just looking at Shilov's numbers,
Yeah,
he's only played 5 games
yeah. That was the
before
That was the
25.
Todd Bertuzzi deal. That's how we got Luongo. Was giving up Todd Bertuzzi.
Gotcha. So Shilov's obviously he was backing up Lankinen for a long time there, but he's only played 5 games so far, and he's got 2 wins, 3 losses, um, with a 2.44 goals against and a 900 save percentage right on the button. So like, not terrible numbers, but also not great numbers.
Nothing to write home about. Yeah, and I
No.
mean, looking at Demko's numbers right now aren't exactly stellar either, right? 2-1 and 3.34 goals against with an
Yeah.
81 save percentage. Like, it's not good
No, it's not.
in 7 games. And I mean, Lincoln's not doing bad at 904. Like, maybe you do. Maybe, I know last time I was talking a lot about it, maybe you move Lincoln in, but maybe you do keep him, right? If he can't stay healthy, then it's a legitimate concern. And it sucks because it means you're going to tie up more money than you really should in a goalie. I think, my
Yeah,
opinion, but
but at the same time, when does Demko's contract come up? Is it next year or the year after?
I think he's got 2 years left. I think he's
Yeah.
27. I think 2027. I think.
Yeah, so like honestly, like at least it gives us some time to figure out whether, before we have to re-sign him, whether I hate to say it, but like whether we want to, whether we need to start looking at sort of like I still think he's an all-star goalie, but like maybe you do have to just pair him up with another goalie and have a 1A, 1B split, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Give him a lighter workload, and and maybe he'll flourish that way. But like, I don't think you can expect him to play like 68 games a season. Like that's just not realistic.
No.
At least
Hopefully.
not
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. So his contract runs out next year. So he's on a $5 million AAV, and it runs out next year.
Okay, so we've got one more season at that then.
Yeah. So they would need to decide next year by the deadline if they were going to move him,
Yeah.
and see how that goes. But I mean, for this year, for right now, I mean, I think you got to keep Lankinen until Demko. If Demko can take over the net, I was hopeful he would have been able to, but clearly his numbers aren't showing that. And it's difficult too because the team hasn't exactly been playing great in front of him, right?
Well, that's exactly it. Like Lankinen was playing better when we had a healthier roster, and then now his numbers have slipped too. Like he hasn't the last little while he hasn't been great. Like I mean, I don't know what his last 10 look like, but
I
he's
I really think Hronek coming back is going to even out the defense. I think getting him back playing those minutes with Hughes, getting Susie and Myers down to some lower minutes, I think it's going to even everything out and really help the team.
So just quickly, like in the last 10 games Lankinen's played, he's only got 3 wins. But some of those losses being the Canucks scoring no goals, only scoring one goal, only scoring one goal, only scoring one goal. It's like it's tough to blame the goalie in those kinds of losses, right? So it's
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean like the fact that we have him signed for peanuts, like I don't think management, like obviously management's pretty savvy. I'm sure if there was the right buyer and somebody was coming knocking on the door for Lankinen here, fuck it, they might take the risk, right? And like try and get a return for him, given that they're paying him next to nothing anyways already. But at the same time, if his contract runs out at the end of the year and we can't afford him, well, like we're in no worse shape basically.
Yeah.
One switching gears here quick. One thing that is this guy and another I mentioned it before, he's just one of my favorites now is fucking Sherwood. So I had to look it up just because I was curious how close he was getting. And the other night there, he surpassed his season high total for hits with less than half the fucking playing time.
Yeah. He's like, incredible, man. He's incredible.
Dude, that is unreal.
They nailed it this offseason, right? Between Lankinen, Sherwood, and DeBrusk, they killed it on the free agent market this offseason. Like you gotta give him credit. Sherwood's been awesome. There's like instant fan favorite. No. He's on pace to set a record for hits for the season, like in a season, to pass Lozon. Last I heard,
he's gonna blow it out of the water, man.
Yeah, I think from what I recall hearing on the last game there, I think the commentators are saying he's something like 60 hits ahead of the next highest guy or something like that. Oh. 40 or 60, I think it was 60 something. Like it's incredible.
Yeah, so Lozon, he's tied with Vela. I don't know who the fuck that is. but he had the record back in 2001, 2002, and then Luzon tied it with 386 hits. He's well over 200 already. He's, like you said, he's going to be like over 400 hits, presuming he stays healthy by the end of the season.
Yeah, Lozon isn't even in the top 10 this season. So Sherwood's got 237. The next high, it's 70. The next is Mark Kastelik on Boston, who has 167. So he's got a 70 hit lead on the next highest guy.
That's crazy. Yeah. So you could basically like easily miss like a dozen games and still nobody would pass him.
Yeah, he's played 3 less games than Kastelik too. Then you got Luke Shen with 159. Will Cooley 154. Yeah. Right now Lozon has 110 less hits.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah. I think there's going to be a point where he's going to have more hits than an entire team. I'm going to throw it out there. I think by the end of the season, he might end up with more hits than, like, all of Toronto.
You're probably not wrong, to be honest. I mean, like, yeah, the pace that he puts him up, like, is just, it's nuts, man. Like, he's, like, what's he averaging here? He's averaging almost 6 hits a game.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked. I mean, I love it. I love that he's on our team.
Yeah.
Like, Kastelik's averaging 3.88. So, like, 50% less hits. Like, on average.
It's crazy, right? Like, it's insane.
Yeah, talk about finishing your checks, eh? Like, that's like, that must have gotten drilled into him from a young age.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, another record that we may, if we're going to continue down this trend, we are with these friggin' overtime losses, is we might surpass the most OT losses in an NHL season. So, the current record, I believe, is 18. So, we have 10 halfway through the season. So, there's a possibility we have that. That's not a great record to have, but I mean,
hey, if it gets you into the playoffs,
right? It's still points.
At the end of the day, it is. And I mean, if you're going to lose the game, I'd rather you get that single point. But if you're going to win the game, I mean, shit, you're giving up. It's a lot of. Those are 10 chances that they could have. They could be 10 more points they could have right now, theoretically, right? Which would
put them.
That's the hard. second in the Pacific.
Yeah, and that's a hard way to look at it for sure. It's like, for the games that they were behind and they were able to tie it up and then they lost in OT, great. That's fine. We'll take that 1 point. But vice versa, where, you blow the lead and then you end up losing it in OT, those ones hurt for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, especially if it's a division rival and things like that, right?
well, like I feel like we've talked about it before, and I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast, but like I don't know why the NHL hasn't considered going to like the international scoring system when it comes to points.
The
Right? You got
3 point games. I think
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I think it's for parity. The 3 point games cause more separation in the standings, and I think the league
Fair.
likes
That's
the
fair.
parity, likes the people watching the stats and watching the
Yeah,
tight
that's
races.
that's true. That's true. Like even like at the end of last season there, it was like what was it? The Islanders they were kind of that team where they had like probably like 13 or 14 OT losses and they like I think they just missed the playoffs there. The cat like remember there was like the race in the East at the end there where there was like
Yeah.
literally five teams
Mhm.
fighting for that wild card spot and like if you're right, if you were going with the 3 point system, the Islanders wouldn't even be in the running. But with so many overtime losses, they were right in there, even though they were like 5 or 6 wins behind the next team.
Yep. I think it's my understanding of exactly why it's still like this is because of the parity and because it makes it so that there's a reason to watch to game 82. Because
True,
if there wasn't
otherwise, the season would be decided by like game fucking 50 or 60.
or 70 or something, right? The last handful of games for certain, probably wouldn't matter. And I mean, obviously, there's teams at the high ends and the low ends where it is like that already, but you're just kind of you're playing for your division or you're just playing to get your paycheck, depending or
Yeah,
playing for pride.
or
But
yeah, it's fun to play spoilers sometimes too.
yeah, but it's also for fans and stuff too, right? Because it puts butts in seats, right? It sells tickets. If the games are close and the games mean something, then there's a better chance that people are actually going to want to show up to watch, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So
Good point.
I would be skeptical. I don't see them changing it. Certainly not with Bettman. I think maybe with another commissioner at some
No.
point down the road, maybe. But
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't
like
see
you
Bettman
could
making the
you could
choice.
try and trial it for a season or something and see how it pans out. But you're right, like yeah, the teams that are just like getting more solid losses, like they would be so far down the standings that it's a hole they would never dig themselves out of.
Yeah. Although again, you get 3 points for winning, but you're trying to catch up to all these teams that have those 3-3-3s, right? And you'd see certainly a lot of teams passing the 100 point mark wouldn't be such a big deal anymore, right? You'd be getting
It's true,
140 point seasons, 150 point seasons, with 50 wins and things like that. That's 150 points.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like I mean, it would be yeah, like you would just I mean, a lot of those records then would be meaningless sort of thing. Or like you'd basically be sending a new benchmark that way.
Yeah.
Or you could just take all the previous ones and then just scale them up accordingly. But
No,
yeah,
then you got to put asterisks on stuff and all that. They go the whole baseball route, right? And
yeah,
I just don't see them doing it. And it's not like the NHL hasn't changed rules and changed the number of games, right? They used to play 72. I think they had an 83 or 84 game season once or twice. I think they've had 80 game seasons. Obviously, there's been lockout shortened seasons with like 40 games or 50 games. Like it's been all over the place, but the point structure is always it was always 2 for a win, nothing for a loss, and then when they added in and then they added sort of the overtime point. I think when they brought in the shootouts, I think maybe a little bit before then, the loser point, right?
hmm
Because I don't think
yeah.
I think in the 90s, I don't know that they had that. Or I don't remember if
Well,
the games just went to a tie or I forget.
after overtime, yeah, it was after overtime. If it was a tie still after overtime, then each team just got one. So you're right. The point totals then for the team still lower because now with the shootout automatically giving a team the decisive 2 points, that already boosted up what the season totals could be, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, where you would have just got each team would have just got one, and that would have been just it.
That's it. Yeah.
Interesting.
So we got a pretty busy week still ahead of us because we got a back to back here today and tomorrow.
I'm probably gonna go
So
to
we
the
got
game
three.
tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I
Fuck
haven't
yeah.
made up my mind yet, but I mean it's expensive, right? Like it's gonna be like
Well, yeah, I
300,
was gonna
400
say.
bucks, but that's the
Yeah,
shitty thing. But it's here, you know.
it's close for you. Yeah. So let's do a quick prediction here. We got 4 games before we record next. Um, we got 3 more away games. We got the Canes. We got the Maple Laughs. We got the Jets. So that's gonna be 3 tough games. And then not any easier coming home. Our first game home is gonna be against the Kings.
Yep. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
tough little stretch.
tough. Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Sure, why not? So we got PD coming back here. We won't have, well, I don't know. I'm not too sure when they had Hronik scheduled. Like he's obviously in the AHL doing the conditioning while they're away, so he's obviously not going to be. He won't be joining the team for the next 3 games. Like the earliest he's going to be back is against the Kings. Who else do we have? Is there anybody else out of the lineup currently?
I
Other than
would
PD?
I would target him to be in the lineup for the Oilers game next Saturday. That's what I think.
You think? You think so? Yeah, just give him a little more time.
Full week. I don't know what the Abbotsford Canucks schedule is like, but I would say a week. Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's playing any games with them. Yeah, I think he's just training, like he's just practicing with them while the Canucks are on the road.
I think he gets to play. I think part of a conditioning stint is that they get to play.
Is, is it okay? I don't know. I guess maybe I read the article wrong. I thought he was just practicing because I mean, like he wasn't out that long, right? I mean, like I don't even think Joshua actually played any games in the AHL before he came up, did he? Speaking of which, he's out again.
Yeah, I saw that.
Anyways, regardless, like I mean, I guess like the if he does play, like I guess like I know some teams don't really want their guys to play in the AHL just because like the risk of what if you got hurt again playing a game in a game that doesn't mean anything. But anyways, so still without Hronik, without Joshua. Um, fuck, we're gonna have to like basically we're gonna have to just steal some wins here. So we got the game starting in 15 minutes against the Canes. Demko's in net for this one. Obviously, Lankinen will get the game tomorrow. Then I
So
imagine they'll.
so just to touch back onto the Hronik thing, from what I'm looking here at this article, I pulled up this random article. It's saying that the standard conditioning loan is for 14 days. Player sent to the NHL plays in whatever games he's assigned and then returns to the NHL.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, he may or may not play then.
Yeah, I would say the earliest would be that. And if he just went back, 2 days ago, they assigned him on Wednesday, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, earliest I think
That'll
would
be
be
like
that Edmonton game, but it could be another week.
yeah. I guess we'll see how his conditioning's coming along.
Yep.
Um. So, anyways, back to predictions here. Oh, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm gonna say they might lose against the Canes here. Uh, well, no, actually, Canes played last night too. They played the Leafs, and that was a bit of a barn burner. So maybe they're bagged. You know what? Fuck it. I'll be optimistic, and like I think they're gonna win one of these back to back. So let's go Canes. Demko's gonna have himself a good game. Um, I'm gonna call it a 3-2 win for the Canucks. With the Leafs, hmm, hopefully, maybe building off some momentum. It'll be close. Maybe we get another overtime point out of it. I'm gonna go with a 4-3 loss. The Jets, oh man, they're just so fucking good. And they've just been healthy all season. They've just, I mean, I guess Morrissey was out for a bit, but he's back already.
Ehlers was out for a
Uh,
bit.
that's true. I mean, Ehlers is good. I don't think he's like pivotal for their team, right? It's not like losing like a Scheifele or a Connor, but um, I'm gonna say unfortunately we lose that game against the Jets. Uh, I'm gonna say 4-1 loss, and then man, maybe we pick up our socks against the Kings. I don't at that point I don't know whether Demko gets the next game in a row or whether they're gonna just continue to do this alternating. But I'm gonna be a hopeful fan and say they win the Kings game 4-3. So I got a 3-2 win against the Canes, a 4-3 loss against the Leafs, a 4-1 loss against the Jets, and a 4-3 win against the Kings.
500.
Yeah. Well, maybe slightly over if one of them's an overtime loss.
Well, I'm not feeling so high on them right now. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
I'm thinking we're looking at a 4-3 loss to the Canes, probably an overtime loss. Just go with the theme. And then I was kind of flipping back, changed my mind, so I'm gonna go. God, because I hate Toronto, so I'm gonna go with a 3-2 win against Toronto. But I was kind of leaning towards a 4-2 loss to Toronto, thinking back-to-back game, they're gonna come out hot, they might score 1 or 2 in the first period, and then just
fall flat.
Yeah, I think that's how that. But I'll go with a 3-2 win. Maybe it's Toronto. They're pretty good at falling apart themselves.
It's true.
And then the Jets, I just don't see it. I got 3-1 on the Jets. I don't think the Canucks have the offense. And
3-1 loss.
Yeah, 3-1 loss to the Jets, and then to the Kings. I think it's going to be a little closer, but I think it's going to be a 2-1 loss to the Kings.
2-1 overtime loss. Okay.
Sure.
It just fucking doesn't matter. All right, so you're going the Debbie Downer route. I'm going the hopeful hometown fan here.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean I kind of agree. I sort of wanted to say that they were gonna go less than 500 over the next 4, but like I don't know. Like it's like I guess the reason I'm feeling hopeful is just like that last game against Washington. They were fucking all over them. Like honestly, like like they played so well, and so maybe hopefully a little bit of momentum, even though they lost, like a little bit of momentum out of that game into this game.
Well, hopefully we're wrong, Dan, and I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
So
I'll drink to being wrong too. Again.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess the game is to start in a couple minutes here. So
it sure is. Sorry, I just wanted to quickly look up game sets. Yeah, shots were 31-18 last game. We fucking out-hit them.
Really? 31-18? Because that first period, it was like 3-2, 15 minutes into the period, man. It was brutal.
Dude, second and third period, Canucks just came alive, and they just like... The one thing that I'd say we're suffering a little bit for us, too, is our power play. We went 1 for 4, which isn't terrible, but like... I don't know, like it's just I think our power play's been suffering a little bit lately. Like it was funny because like with JT gone, it went hot. JT came back and now everything's cooled back off again. Like not to say that JT's the catalyst to that, but it's like it may it could just be as simple as the fact that you're just changing up the the juju or fucking whatever there. But yeah, like I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, that first period power play was terrible that I saw, the 4-minute one. But again, you got Hughes in the box. And without Hronik, they don't have anyone to quarterback that. And talk about Branstrom all you like. He's not
No,
He's
no,
not
I
NHL caliber to me. He just isn't. He's there's potential maybe, but he's just not there. He's not there.
no. I think he was a good waiver pickup, and he shows that he could be a good like puck moving defenseman. But yeah, I mean, he's still, I don't know, how old is he?
He's
He's
not
gonna be
young. He's not that young.
no.
He's been around. I think we're his like fourth team or something like that. Either way,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't know. It'll be
No, he's
interesting.
20, he's fucking 25, buddy.
Yeah, that's not that young.
Ah, well, he's not a fucking young buck, but
Quinn
yeah,
Hughes
he's
is
played
25,
for.
isn't he? Is he? Quinn Hughes might be 24. Not that
Yeah, so
you can't put Hughes in the. I know, and I get it.
no, it's like
I'm being
fucking
ridiculous.
it's like comparing a Porsche to a fucking Nissan Micra. Like it's two different caliber players.
Yeah,
No, so he's only played for two teams. He played for Ottawa all of his career. I think he got drafted by Vegas, but then got traded to Ottawa right away.
yeah.
And then he played. He's only played, well, I guess like let's call it 3 full seasons. Numbers aren't fantastic. 14 points, 18 points, 20 points.
When
But
he was moved to Colorado, and then we got him from Colorado, right? That's what my understanding.
exactly, yeah. He never played in Colorado, and he never like yeah. Sorry, I guess technically he's been. You're right. We are his fourth team, but two of the teams he was with, he didn't play a single game with. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Still has he's
And
still
let's
has
just,
potential. Is like
just to put it, because it is, where's Vegas in the standings? What caliber teams Vegas? What caliber teams Colorado? What caliber teams Ottawa? There's a
no.
reason you
That's
play with
that's
Ottawa.
that's fair. That's fair. No, it's tough to break into a Colorado lineup. I mean, not that they're. I mean, their defense has been better of late, and fucking that Mackenzie Blackwood, he's been
It's
playing well for them. But
There's a higher bar to entry, right? There's just that's a higher
yep,
bar to entry, and he
and
wasn't he
and same
wasn't at
goes
it.
same goes with Vegas, right? Like you got freaking Petrangelo, McNabb, obviously Theodore. Like you got what's his fucking pickle there, Hannafin there now. Like yeah,
Yeah,
hard to break into the roster when you got guys like that as well.
yeah,
When you're competing for a spot against them.
yeah. You got to be a legit NHL player, right? And he's not there. That's what I think. That's just my opinion, my 2 cents for what they're worth. Um,
Yeah.
and I think it's
No.
it's a sad state of the Canucks defense, really, that's what everybody thinks. Oh, he's not. He's just not. We just don't have it. We just don't have another puck movie after Hughes and Hronik. The next guy is Wielander, right? And he's just a little too young. He's not ready
Yeah.
for it yet either, but all signs point to he will be.
Who's this? Sorry.
Tom Wielander, the Swedish kid,
Oh,
not the other
oh,
EP, but
Vilander. Yes, yes.
Wielander. Yeah,
Mind you,
Wielander.
EP got he's on the AHL All Star team.
Yep, I
So
saw that.
that bodes well for him.
Yep. Yeah, and he's another kind of like shut down defensive defenseman, right? Which is fine. You need that.
Which is, I mean, yeah, replace fucking Dehart plug there, and um,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's fine.
Again, I'm doubt. I mean, unless something really goes sour with the depth, I'm doubtful we see either of those guys this year. But maybe next year. They might queue in next year, right? It's a waiting game for those guys. For this year, they got to look outside of the organization, I think, to improve the defense. And I'm sure
Agreed.
I'm
And I
sure
mean,
they're looking. I'm sure they're shopping, and they just haven't found what they want for the price that they're willing to pay yet. And that's what it really
oh,
comes down to.
oh, exactly. And I mean, like, as unfortunate as all the injuries that we've been plagued with, because it's been, let's be honest, it's been a fucking roller coaster of a season. Like we've had Petey out a couple of times. We've had Besser out due to that concussion. We
Yeah.
had fucking obviously Hronik out. We've had Hughes out. We've had Miller out. We've had Demko out. Like the list goes on and on. Like
That's
not that
that's your
Joshua's like a pivotal player, but he's been out. Like
it's your entire core. right?
Exactly. At some point or another, like your core players have been injured for extended stretches for like, minimum 5 games. And that's going to hurt a team. That's just
Yep.
going to hurt a team. And that's, it's been quite obvious. Like, I'd say the fact that we are above 500 and we're in a wild card spot, we've played through that adversity and we've done pretty well. It's
Yeah.
just now, hopefully, let's maintain a healthy roster. Let's get a bit of cohesion in our lineups here. And, yeah, fuck. I mean, we're only halfway through. Anything can change.
Yep.
I mean, look at what fucking year did the Blues win the cup there? I think it was like January 1st, they were like fucking dead last in the West or close to, and then they clawed their way into the wild card spot and won.
I mean, they're well, I said not again. I haven't said it before, but they are the exception, not the rule, right?
No, I get that, but I'm just trying to say, like, for all the fucking doomsdayers and the naysayers out there,
All you got to do is make the playoffs. That's all they got to do. From there, it's a clean slate. Like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I like our odds against LA better than I like our odds against Vegas.
Against like Vegas or something, yeah.
Sure. But at the end of the day, make the playoffs.
Well, at the end of the day, to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Well, yeah.
Whether you're fucking facing them in the first round or the third round doesn't really matter.
Exactly. You still got to beat them. The only difference is maybe in the third round they're more beaten up, but chances are so are you. Like, yeah, like you said, you got to beat the best to be the best, and as long you just got to make the playoffs, and then from there it's a clean slate. You just gotta hope you're healthy and get your shit working out. And if they can be hot going into the playoffs, even at a low berth, that's a dangerous team. Any team that's hot going into the playoffs is a dangerous team.
Very true. Very true. I'll agree with that. Mind you, last year Nashville was hot going into the playoffs, and we were somehow able to fend them off. Mind you, we were obviously doing pretty well ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Edmonton was one of the hotter teams too, right? And they made it down. They made it pretty darn far.
All the way to the end. That's not bad.
Yeah, Game 7 of the finals.
Yeah. Oh, God. It was crushing, and it was, as a rival fan, it was kind of wonderful to see.
Yeah. It would be nice to see a Canadian team win. Obviously, I want it to be Vancouver. But, And I have to say, as much as I shit on Toronto, it would be cool to be here if they actually won. It would be something. It would be, I can't even imagine what it would be like, to be perfectly honest. But,
If what? The Canucks and the Leafs made it to the
or
finals?
no, I'm saying if the Leafs actually won it, right? If they actually went the distance, it would be incredible.
Yeah.
As much as I shit on Toronto and all of that, right? In all fairness, it would be something to see if this city won the cup.
Well, yeah. I mean, they've got a pretty, 40, what are they on to now? 5-year cup drought?
50 something?
Oh,
What's the Tragically Hip song? What was it? 50 Mission Cap. I forget how it goes.
No, it was 40 mission?
40
I
Mission.
don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
The vodka's kicking in.
67 or something, wasn't it? Was the last time they won a cup?
Okay, yeah, then they're definitely, that's 40. Is that 48 years? No, 68 would be. Fuck, I can't do math today.
Aren't you an engineer?
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
I've been doing some drinking. Shut up.
1967. 1967. So that's nearly 60 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a long ass time.
Yeah, it's 58 years.
I forgot to carry the one.
Yeah.
Well, game's about to start.
That's like people have been born, gone to school. At that point, at that time they probably left school early to go to work, whatever. Worked their entire careers and have retired without ever seeing the Leafs win a cup.
That's very true.
I mean, you can say the same of Vancouver too, right? I mean, my dad's
Yeah,
my dad's been watching them
gonna,
since the team was inaugurated, and
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna bite my tongue because I've been watching them too since I was born.
yeah,
Went to school, graduated, and I'm working my career currently. So I really hope I don't get to the point of retirement before I see them win a cup.
yeah. Well, or you're or become one of those like, they might win, but not in my lifetime. Like Jesus, fuck.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, let's wrap her up with a shot to
Canadian team winning the cup, and then let's go watch this game. Let's see if we can both be wrong, or let's see if I can be wrong, you can be right. And,
I was gonna say I'm hoping the 3-2 win here.
All right,
Demko has himself a decent game.
All right. Well, and don't forget, this episode's brought to you by vodka.
Yeah, and for the few people that tune in to listen from time to time, let us know what you think, and we'll probably just shit talk you in the comments.
Yeah, we'll shit talk you, but appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah.
Cheers, Dan.
Cheers, buddy.
All right.
Ooh, finish off the rest of that vanilla vodka here. Ooh.
Oh, this is not good. Is it warm or something?
No, it's a little warm. I'm just trying to get through some of the Christmas backlog here and just, I'd say that I'm going on a cleanse or detox, but who the fuck am I kidding?